Unmuted.
Hello, everybody. My name is Derek from Natural Spaces Domes, and welcome all of you to our first Natural Spaces Domes Dome Talk. We did get a lot more people than we didn't really know what to anticipate, I guess, but with real short notice on this first one, we were scrambling to get it up and running as quickly as we could. We got a lot of people, so our goal was to try to be available for 1 hour a week to answer questions for anybody that may have had a question regarding our dome system. So we got a lot of people, so we're not sure if we're gonna be able to get through everybody's questions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them in order that they came in, that people signed up in, and we'll start with those people first and work our way through the list, and we'll try to be as efficient as we can and as thorough as possible with the time we have. If we're unable to get to everybody's question, any remaining questions, we would definitely, invite you guys for next week. I mean, we want to be able to get to everybody's question, but we're trying to keep this manageable. So did you have anything you wanted to add, Dennis, before I call on our first participant?
No, I think we've got about 30 people on our list. So that's really what we're talking about. We intend to spend, 2 or 3 minutes answering your question. If a question is sort of a general one and we spend a little more time and we think it's pertinent, we'll do that. We have the ability, we're not limited here to an hour-long time. So if there were participants that wanted a question answered, it certainly, the option is there to go over the time limit. But we do have other weeks scheduled. In other words, every Wednesday at 6, we're doing this for 1 month and then seeing if changing the time or the day will garner new people or different people that want to talk about our dome system and find out answers. So yeah, we can just jump into it. Like I said, we don't know what to expect here. We didn't ask you to send your question in. We didn't ask that it be pre-screened. So it's going to be interesting. And we'll be talking live with the person who's got the questions.
Sure. Well, like Carrie said earlier, if everybody, including myself, can try to stay muted when we don't need to be talking, it'll give clear audio for the questions and the answers as much as possible. So the first person who signed up to join us tonight was Steve Jasper. I don't know if Steve Jasper's had a chance to jump in yet.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, I'm privileged.
Good to put a face with the name. Steve actually been working with us here for a little while, so we were kind of, I've seen his emails, but nice to finally see you, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks, Derek, and thanks, Dennis, for setting this up. Just to let people know, I'm building a small dome. It's a 22-foot with a small extension. I'm going to be using it for a day use as a studio, music studio and art studio. And the question I have is that it's going to be fairly well insulated. I don't have any problems in the summer because I'll have some windows that'll slide open for air. But I'm wondering in the winter, when everything is closed up, because I don't have a forced air system in the dome, what will be an easy way to ensure that I've got fresh air coming into the dome in the wintertime? Would this be an air exchanger? Would this be an expensive add-on? I don't know anything about that. So that's my question.
Good question. Derek, I'm going to let Derek answer this because Derek did some research on small ear-to-ear exchangers. So take it away, Derek, and talk about what you found out.
Well, for the rest of you, depending on where you're building, of course, makes a huge impact on the needs for ventilation. And Steve's up in Canada, so the extreme heat maybe isn't as much of an issue as maybe the cold. I'm not real sure, but they've really come a long ways with air-to-air exchangers, and they're becoming, they're code in Minnesota. They're probably going to be code everywhere to have an air-to-air exchanger to keep fresh air coming into your home. And again, trying to keep the answer to your question short so we can get to as many as possible. There are small units that are only for I want to say probably around $500 to $700 range that you can actually install that would maintain continuous fresh air movement back and forth from the outside and inside your dome while maintaining about 90% efficiency for your heating. So if you have a little space heater in there and it's cold out, the fresh air coming in, you'll be at 90% efficiency for heat loss. And then of course there's the passive way, which is just to simply put a small operable skylight in the upper portion of your dome with another operable window, maybe in the riser wall or something, where you can just get natural airflow through the dome during those seasons where you're able to just get some fresh air. You don't have to really worry about too much about heating or cooling. But they do make small air-to-air exchangers. I think that would be perfect for a small dome like yours, especially one open space where you don't have compartmentalized rooms that need ductwork and stuff. So
you can post the link to that or the details on the chat.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'll get a link out there for that. We're kind of they're fairly new units, so we haven't had a lot of experience with them or a lot of feedback. But I'll definitely email you the ones I've been looking at, so you can kind of get more.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Our next.
I'll make a comment on that too, is that this is a really important area because the domes that we do, even the small domes, we're saying tighten the dome up from an air exchange standpoint. The code's out there, the code has been requiring maximum three air changes per hour. That code wants to go, or is going down to 1.5. So you need fresh air. Not every state, very few states require it. Minnesota, Vermont, and I think Maryland, there might be a couple others that are just started to require it. All new housing, all of it has to have an air-to-air exchanger with balanced airflow. It's a little more intricate than just an air exchanger. But we built Bear Creek Dome here in 2005, 2006, and we have an air-to-air exchanger. So it's worked very well in the wintertime. It's fresh air coming into your house.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, they're going to be a standard feature soon. Our next one is Mike Olson from Cook, Minnesota. So somewhat local. Are you on board here, Mike? Exchange, okay.
I think he is.
Is he? Are you maybe muted?
No mic. He's got no mic.
No mic. Okay, I'll go to the next one. We got John from Anoka, Minnesota. John on here. Let's see.
No John.
Okay.
They're probably stuck in the blizzard somewhere.
Yeah, for those of you that are not in Minnesota, we're experiencing some really crazy weather. Started out with freezing rain into ice to make sure everything had a nice slick surface. Then we followed it up by wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour and upward dennices, anywhere up to 15 inches of snow as anticipated. So it's a little crazy here in Minnesota. So there's definitely a possibility that they're not able to make it. So we got James Weldon in Boone, Nebraska. Is James on?
I don't think so.
No, okay. How about Becky Christensen in Otta, Minnesota, another Minnesotan?
She was on earlier, but I don't
She was on?
Oh, wait. Maybe. Hang on.
Okay. I hear somebody.
I think that's Tessa.
Okay. How about, let's see, David from Front Royal, Virginia.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep. We can hear you. How you doing, David?
Good. How about you?
Good.
So we're very new into domes. We actually were going to build a yurt and do short-term rentals there, but the county code was so restrictive and they didn't want to help. We weren't able to get the R value that was required to make it a permanent residence. It has to be a permanent residence in order to do vacation rentals. So we switched to the domes. Do you have experience with Virginia and all their regulations and stamped plans and And is it all doable? You know what I mean? So,
Well, you grab that one, Dennis, since you built
Yeah.
right over there yourself, not that well in North
We've
Carolina.
we've got quite a few domes in Virginia. And really, you know, it comes back to California. California is the hardest one. I shouldn't say it that way because it's a positive thing. You want this thing to, you want this structure, you want this house to be energy efficient. We have a registered structural engineer, and their group of engineers are registered in all 50 states. So that can be handled. We are used to all of the codes that are required because there's now one code in the country. It's the International Residential Code. We've been exceeding that code since its inception in 2000. We've been ahead of the code since actually in the 70s, after we learned a few things in the 70s. We stayed ahead of this code, and we still are. We're requiring, not requiring, we're suggesting an R value of 60 instead of 49, which a lot of areas are 49. The lowest one is 30 in some of the southern states, and then 39 is a kind of a mid area. But the majority of the states are 49 in the zones. I think it's zone 4 and above. And you're in probably a zone 4 there where you are. So no, it's not a problem for us. It's not a problem with our domes. It's not a problem creating plans that meet building permit approval. It's an ordinary thing. I do it every day.
great. Thank you.
All right. Next on our list is another Canadian, George from Alexandria, Canada. Are you on board by any chance? George. Okay.
Hey, Derek.
Yes.
Maybe you want to do like we talked about before the meeting started, where you list the next 4 or 5 names so that people can hear their name.
Okay, we got Mark Wood from Crystal Lake, Illinois, Kevin from Riverside, California, John from Wisconsin, and let's see, Kevin from California. Yep, down there twice. So okay.
And I've got Mike's question too. He was able to put it in the chat earlier.
Oh, and Mike chimed in on a chat. Okay.
Do we want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, sure. We can do Mike's. Yeah.
Okay, so Dennis, we have Mike's question from Cook, Minnesota. And he says rain from the roof happens in huge amounts up here. I think we've experienced that. And the 4 to 6 inch gutter just is not sufficient for his dome. Is there another system they could install to keep those gutters from overflowing?
I'm not sure there really is. The gutter that has a leaf guard on it tends to restrict some of the water flow. You are in an area up in northern Minnesota with pine trees. We've had to keep our gutters that we have around our dome here in North Branch, keep them clean from all the oak leaves and the pine needles that we have, which is a several times a year process. But handling it might relate to the downspouts. You've got to have some drainage coming from the gutters. They have to be sloped. And then at that point, you're going into a downspout, which has to be, in a sense, oversized to handle the load. Yes, we can get a very heavy rainfall, but you also have to look at the drainage around your house and make sure there's slope away from the house. As far as dealing with an overflow of water, yeah, you got to get rid of that water and get it away from the house. So downspouts and gutters on a dome are very permissible, very real from the standpoint that you have to do them. Otherwise, you got all this water going right down next to your foundation. But even then, you need to be sloping that land away from it. We made our own gutters. They're smaller than the normal one, just because architecturally I wanted it to look a certain way. So that is an option where you can have somebody that's got a metal break and create your own gutter. So if you're seeing an area of your house where it's overflowing, create a wider gutter. Have it, it shouldn't be that hard to do because it wasn't hard for us to do it. It's a real simple thing.
Okay. All right. So in the last few names I called out, there was Mark from Illinois, John from Wisconsin, Kevin from California, and then I got Mike from Texas as well. If any one of you guys are available and want to jump in with a question, try to see if we don't all jump in at once.
They can wave.
They can wave. They can wave at you.
Okay, no takers in that batch. They may end up with a question in the
We've
chat.
got one. We've got one.
Oh,
He's muted.
oh, we got one muted here. Hold on one second.
Let's see.
I think, there you go.
There it unmuted.
There you go.
Great to be here. There's no other dome than a natural space dome. I've traveled to Virginia and visited the 4584 Borden Grant Trail, Fairview, Virginia Dome. Absolutely beautiful. I was outbidded when I was trying purchasing it. And then I went to Prescott, Arizona at the 2600 East Petty Loop, and the wife didn't like the water because it was a well water with a container. She wants to be on city water.
Oh,
My question is, we live here in Riverside, California, and we're looking at property in Wrightwood, and there's lots up there I want to buy. And my concern is that I've done construction on my house. I built this house here, but I'm concerned about the foundation. And when I put that together with, I want to use what they used in Fairview in Virginia with the foam. I'm afraid that it'll be off a 1/16, a ½ inch, and then when you go to place a dome on top of it, how I don't know how, and then I was wondering if you guys have a contractor that could come out here and just build the foundation. That's my question.
okay. Grab that, Dennis.
Okay, no, we don't have someone that can build your foundation. We do have somebody, and you're looking at him on the screen there, Derek, that could fly out there, on myself included. You could fly us out there and we could lay that thing out for a contractor.
Really?
But I'm going to say to you that you shouldn't need that. The contractor, I know we scare a lot of concrete contractors when we say, how accurate do you have to be? And we say, well, you know, get that 1/16 to a ¼ inch. You're going to be on. The concrete just doesn't really want to stay in one spot. It wants to create pressure on the forms. And it's never.
Right.
Hey, Dennis, let me interrupt you. You got
muted
somehow. Yeah, I've seen a couple of dome projects actually where I've been to them and they've been off as much as a couple inches on each wall. The dome will still be fine as long as it's not too crazy. Obviously, you want it like any foundation, the more accurate you can get it, the better, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect and it will still work. In fact, as far as poured foundations, I haven't been to one where it's really close. You know, I mean, a few of them get pretty good, but yeah, it's not. Sorry, Dennis, I didn't mean to take over there, but it looked like it got muted on you. So I'll let you kind of finish what you're saying.
No, that's fine. It's a situation where we stress, you know, some accuracy in that foundation, but it's real hard just to control concrete. So
yes.
Getting it level is more important than if you're off in the radius and stuff, but you shouldn't have that. The forms, we've got the guy up in Oregon that just did huge amount of concrete stuff on his foundation, poured concrete walls, very kind of, I'll say intricate because there's a garage, there's terrain, there's steps in the foundation. You need somebody that will go on board with you and say, yeah, I can do that. You gotta have somebody that's got a comfort level in what you're dealing with on the property too, from the standpoint of level foundations or sloped hillsides. but they're out there. And the problem is contractors today are booked up. You've got a problem in California with all these houses that have burned 8, 9, I don't know what your number is. I've heard 8,000, 9,000 houses. The contractors are busy. And that's really.
Well, I would be owner builder. I would do it all myself. I built all my foundation. I dug my forms. When I did my house, it's a wood floor house. So I built the double forms. I did all my rebar. I did the sewer. I did the water, the electrical, the framing, the finishing, and everything. Painting, stucco.
Here's the situation. And you're the one that you got to learn.
And I'm scared. But I'm scared about that.
We'll give you a number. We'll give you a number. I mean, when we work out these numbers for the dome, we carry it out to 4 decimal points. But you're going to look at that and you're going to create
something. Aircraft tolerance.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to get that. But we can show you the tricks in how you do it, how you lay this thing out, because there's a lot of cases where you need a center point. You can't lose that center point. And then from that point, you can string a line across and meet either in the center of the strut or from the point of or where the strut's supposed to be, or I should say the edge of the panel is supposed to be. And we can show you how to lay that out so you're not off. And it might take you a few more hours to do it, but we have consultation time on FaceTime. We'll do a FaceTime with you. So that's what we're trying to do with more like this, video, Zoom room, plus FaceTime. We handle a lot of people that way that are like you. How can I lay it out well? And instead of you sitting there on the trying to scratch your head and figure out why it's 3 inches off, we can stop you from being 3 inches. So,
and I like the foam block system that you have there, where you can just lay the rebar in there and tie it together and put it together.
We've got a lot of foundations that are the foam block.
Yes, and I like that also because it insulates too, and you leave them in place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good system. You get like double. You get your foundation and you get your insulation from the snow, because up there it snows. It's 5,600 feet.
Okay. Yeah.
But down here right now, we're sitting in 60-degree weather right now here in Riverside.
Yeah. Well, ICFs are definitely growing in popularity because, like you said, they're a good option. So, and they're easy to do for people doing it themselves, you know. At least until it comes time for the pour, then you might want some help. But when you do the pour, when you fill it all up, but yeah, other words, it's not bad. So
great, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And then you were Kevin then. So
yes, Gerald Kevin.
Okay, and then the next batch of 5 we got is Ron from Oregon City, Oregon. Trent from Vermont. Let's see. Sorry, my eyes are going weird on me here. We got McKay from Utah, and we got Cliff from Illinois, and Bob from New York, and Trent from Utah also. I'm sorry. If you guys want to jump in, want somebody if they're available.
I'm Ron from Oregon.
Oh, hi, Ron, Oregon City. Okay. How you doing?
Doing okay. So
good.
Looks like a triangle in there.
We've been in a dome for since 1984.
Oh,
wow. Hey.
Cool.
And
cool.
So we have a partial loft upstairs, and as we age, we're wanting to bring the upstairs down. And so we're thinking of a dome addition to our dome, and with a enclosed connection. And so I don't know, our dome system was developed by a local guy who's retired, and so it's just the challenge of mating the 2 domes so that they look aesthetically pleasing, I guess. But we want a low profile dome in addition, because we don't want another upstairs. We just want a downstairs. So a smaller, we're in a 30-foot diameter dome. I'm thinking another 30-foot diameter dome. So I don't know what challenges you would see in terms of coordinating those two structures.
We generally know all the different types of domes that are out there. So a 30-foot diameter should be a 3-frequency dome. There's two different.
4-frequency.
It's a 4-frequency, so your panels are smaller.
And it's a modified 5/8.
Okay.
So the riser wall is actually triangles.
Okay. No, we ran across a new one here the other day when Derek went out, and I think the name that he found was it's a Pentactic Dodecahedron. Different kind of configuration of pentagons and triangles. So matching it up, we're going to want pictures of your dome. We do it all the time. We create links. We create non-symmetrical links, even if there's two different sizes. We can match up the extension width. We know we can take out some of your triangles and the thing's not going to collapse. We know how domes react. So it's pretty common. My first dome was built in '75. It was added on right away with another dome. After the girls graduated, we added another dome, took that dome down and added a different dome, a 36-foot diameter dome onto the 45-foot diameter dome. Then in '95, added another dome onto it, which was a 30-foot low profile and a connecting link that went around the trees. So it's nothing new for us, creating a link to a dome, making it work for your site and making it work for the dome that you've got. So I don't really see any issues, especially with the history that we have on this and knowing how to keep the rainwater off and not create valleys that collect snow and debris. So there's a bunch of stuff to be aware of, but it's not a complicated thing for us.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, then on that last batch, we had Trent from Utah, McCabe from Utah, Cliff from Illinois, and Bob from New York. If any of you guys are still...
Yeah. Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Hi, McCabe. How you doing? Yeah, I can hear you good.
Yeah, thanks guys for jumping on. This is great to see other dome home owners. We've been in our home about 3 years. We are in Utah where it's really dry, but our home does not have a cupola. And I know a lot of people do recommend cupolas. So I guess my questions related to that are, first, would you recommend going ahead and installing one where we do have a dry climate? Second question would be, how much would that help in the summertime to get rid of some of that hot air? And then ballpark figure, like what kind of price should I expect to pay to build a cupola onto our home?
Cupolas are not necessary to ventilate the dome properly. What is necessary for the inside air for ventilation, for the air that you breathe, is to have some airflow. You may need a series of and we use Velox as the brand that we use, Velox Operable Skylights. These are rectangular units. We don't have an operable triangle unit. It's just too hard to seal that. So the Velox units are actually, you can install them very easily. They have solar powered rectangular venting skylights. They run, generally, they're about $1,000 because of the solar power unit. The electric units that require adding that into your system, your electrical system, are the same price, $1,000 roughly for an average size. So you need some ventilation at the top of your dome. You need some windows down below that you can open up. The other issue, which you don't have in Utah, is condensation issues. So you really don't need something for that. We do ventilate our domes Not all the time. We look at that climate zone. We've got quite a few domes in Utah. We've got a new project in Utah that we're working on. There's 2 of them. And there's one that we just had a customer go and look at not too long ago. And the owners were very nice to show them around their dome. And that one is in, what's the town? Heber, which is up in the mountains. So you need ventilation. So we do sell the Bellex Skylights. That's the brand that we chose to hang our hat on. And we do sell them at a reduced rate. And so what it is it can be shipped right to your door. But more importantly, you want to figure out that you've got something down below to open up. If you've got closed rooms in your upper floor, then each of those rooms needs to have some ventilation to it for the summertime. Velox has shades that really inexpensive shades like Venetian blind shades, and then other shades which are solar control. They have blackout controls on them. So you can really control that sun from heating up the inside. But the skylights are usually about 2 feet wide, 2 feet high, 2 feet wide, 3 or 4 feet high. So they usually fit within the triangle. So there's a framing that you do within the triangle to support that. If you wanted a cupola on the top of your dome, it provides really good ventilation. Yes, it does. You can open up windows on the leeward side and the windward side. We had a dome in North Carolina. We sold it. It was a rental property. And that one, you could be up in the cupola and it was on the ocean. And you'd stand there and your hair would be blowing from one side of that window being open and the other side being open with it. The thing with the dome is the air is going to hit that dome and go up. And when it's raining out, you'll see the rain going up the dome and over it. So you could be up in the cupola watching rain go sideways. So the package that we sell for a new cupola is somewhere in that, I'm going to say $6,000 to $7,000. You could add a floor underneath that. So it's a matter of what kind of dome you've got, who the manufacturer is, and can it support that floor? Although you could certainly build some supports underneath it to support the floor. A lot of our cupolas don't have a floor. I'm sitting in one right now without a floor, but the cupola is there. We leave a window open basically all summer long. It's got protection. It's got a 2-foot overhang on it. So it helps ventilate the dome. And if we don't open any other windows, it just the air that builds up from the heat from the sun is ventilated out. But the minute we open a window, and usually in Minnesota at night, you open a lower window and have the upper window open. In the morning, it's cool. So it's that kind of thing where you need that control. And that's what the skylight or a cupola would do, is give you that control on the airflow that you breathe.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Those both sound like great options for our house.
Sure.
Okay. Our next group, and I realize as I'm calling names, maybe a lot of people just wanted to listen to questions, didn't necessarily have one. But if I did call your name and I'm going ahead and you had a question, you can always either jump in there, or you can, Carrie's monitoring the chat. If you want to let her know you have a question, she'll definitely make sure we get to it. In other words, our next 5 people that have signed up would be Richard in Manitoba. We got Connie in St. Paul, Minnesota. We got Eric in Mont Blanc. We got Sheila in Pennsylvania, and we got Michelle in Loomis, California.
Connie and Sheila.
Oh, and so if any of the next group there has any questions they want to jump in with, please feel free.
Hi, this is Connie. We started exploring dome homes a few years ago. We've gone on some of the dome home tours up there that you've had. And we're at that point where we want to like start setting our plans together so we kind of know then what it's going to cost budget-wise. And so what is that process? I mean, how do we get to that design planning, and are we even at the appropriate stage to start doing that?
It's definitely your question, Dennis. I'll let you grab that.
Yeah, what you're dealing with is that we do have a series of things that we go through, and we put about 200, 225 plans online with different sizes of domes to show you somebody else's plan, basically, that what you can fit inside of a dome. So you got a 30-foot dome, you got a 50-foot dome, whatever it might be, you want to hone in on that size. Part of it's a cost situation. So there's a square foot cost calculator that we have online. You can look at that to kind of keep you in a cost range that you're comfortable with, depending on how you're going to build this, whether you're an owner builder, owner contractor, or totally contracted out.
It'd be totally contracted out.
Okay, and that's fine. Whereabouts are you located?
I'm in St. Paul, and our land is up in Webster, Wisconsin.
Oh, sure. Derek was just up in Webster not too long ago. There's a dome up there that he had to look at that the local person here in North Branch owns as a cabin. So the situation is you've been inside of some domes, so you get a feel for that. That's what we like to have people do, is get inside of some domes to get a feel for is it too big, too small? What are you comfortable with? With that, start looking at the plans that are online just to get a general idea of what you need to have inside there as far as rooms are concerned. So we have a process where we do preliminary plans. So we're going to take your ideas, whether they're generated from a plan that we have, where you're modifying it, or you start creating it with what we call an interior planning kit, which is a scale drawing of a certain size dome that you do your layouts in. But it's probably easier for a lot of people to look at a plan and say, gee, I like that, but I want to change this, I want to move that. Or the property that you're on, that has a big factor in the design. So you may want to do a mirror image of a plan that works. So it's really that looking at those plans to get an idea from the size and the quantity that you want inside of it.
Right.
Then tie that into the site that you.
Yeah, I've looked at lots of plans, and I've kind of even sketched. Yep, and I've even sketched out kind of the layout that we would like. So, as I said, it's getting to that formalized part.
Okay. So the formalizing of that is simply you send that into us. There's a customer design information sheet that we have that goes with that. There's some questions related to that dome. And then we start out with a work authorization where we tell you, okay, to do your plan, to create your plan, the preliminary plan, it's really a preliminary construction drawing that we're going to interpret your ideas. Here's the cost, and you sign a work authorization with us to do that. Okay. Then from that, we now know the size of your dome and can create a cost on all the components that we can supply very easily. The rest of it, we can do a budget for you that shows you what the whole dome would cost.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
That's the process usually before you jump into the unless you're comfortable with it, with the size, and you're going to say, well, whatever it costs. But usually you want to know what this outcome would be. We do the budget, and then we slide into construction drawings and permit drawings, which are the same thing. So instead of spending that money on that, you want to find out what that cost is, but you need a preliminary plan to do it.
Right, right, yes. Okay, thank you very much.
You're right at that stage where Yeah, we have Tessa just handed me a little note here just to say, we do have a new thing. This is part of the new thing, this Zoom talk room that we're doing. And we have now a consulting page, where you sign up for that. We're going to look at your plan. You can send your plans to us or email them to us or show them on FaceTime or whatever you want to do. And we'll look at that, critique that, talk about it. So you're sliding into that phase and then understanding that, yes, this works. Then we continue on with a work authorization. So prior to that, we can do this consulting situation. And the first half hour that we talk there's no charge to it. But then from then on, now you're getting the serious conversation and you want more expertise from us, then it's like everybody else that's professional out there. You pay for that on an hourly basis. And all of our stuff is billed on an hourly basis. So it's a matter of what you want to do.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
there's actually steps on the consulting page that we've added in here. There's actually some steps involved, kind of explaining what you're actually going through or looking to do.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right. All right. Well, we're actually getting through these pretty good. So hopefully we'll get to everybody. The next 5, we have Dana from Grand Rapids, Minnesota, Stacy from Oklahoma, Brian from Virginia, Diana from California, and Faye from Canada. So we have some more from
Derek,
Canada.
I think some of those, right, Derek, I think some of those might have been signed up because the names are familiar to for another week.
Faye is here. And
yep, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm kind of zoomed in here on the names, so I missed the notes that those are for next week. Yep, so we got Dana and Stacy though.
If they're here. If they're here.
Oh, yep. Okay. Yeah, so anybody in that group that wants to jump in, feel free.
Well, if nobody else wants to jump in, I can do that if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
My name is Faye Murrin, or Faye, and I'm from Newfoundland, which is eastern Canada, and I live in a 40-foot dome. You can see part of the window behind me, and I've been living in it. It was built in '79, and I've been living in it for about 35 years, something like that.
Wow.
And I have been in contact with you. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. And I gotta say, it's a real pleasure after 35 years of living in a dome to be talking to people who know what they're talking about when it comes to dome construction. Because one of my biggest problems is getting people to work on my house. Because they don't know what's going on, and even to get somebody to re-roof it was quite a thing. So it's great that you're giving your expertise and you're making it available like this, because it's just feels great. Anyway, but I have been in contact with Nancy and Debbie, I guess, and I've started to send in some pictures. I realize now I may actually need more work than I thought. Not so much from what you folks have said, but because you're getting me to take pictures, I'm looking at them and going, oh my God, that's not so great. But so I'm hoping to continue on and have you folks guide me and give me some resources to, after this length of time, after 42 years, it needs a little bit of work. And I've really enjoyed living in the dome for sure. So for those of you who are just starting out on thinking of getting a dome, that's a wonderful thing. But my main problem, and our main problem always has been our skylights, these large windows behind us have been chronic leakers. And that's just, if you don't get them right in first place, that's going to happen. So that's in large part why I'm coming to talk to you guys, and I look forward to working with you. So I don't have any specific questions. Like, I'm really excited about the solar powered sort of ventilation system that you mentioned, and a couple of other things that I didn't know about. So hopefully we'll get to talk about that a little bit more down the road.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for all the good words for domes, and yeah, it can be a challenge to find contractors that it seems to kind of be they're either excited to work on something unusual and different from their normal everyday grind, if you will, or you know, they don't know what they're going to run into because it's something new and they're a little, you know, apprehensive of it. So it kind of depends on where you're at and the contractors in that area. But yeah, it can be tough. And we're trying to do more stuff like this. We have an online roofing manual for roofers so they can feel confident they're going to do the job right. But like you said with the skylights, it's an installation is very important on how this stuff gets done in the first place. And, you know, you always want everything to be done correctly. So,
yeah.
But, yeah. I'll let you jump in there, Dennis, if you had something you want to add in there.
No, it's the situation is the most early domes didn't take into account upper skylights for ventilation, or that their skylights weren't done professionally, or a major company didn't make them. The Velox brand is an excellent skylight. They've got some warranties on their windows as well as we do. And the operable window up, not right on top of your dome, but just slightly down from the top pentagon usually, is the perfect spot for an upper ventilating window. So that's something that, that anybody can add in, and they've got really good instructions with Velox skylights.
I did actually contact Velox, both locally and in Canada, because I had seen on your website before, quite a while ago, before I actually realized you did this kind of consulting. But boy, I didn't have much luck with talking to them about putting things in domes, and I just had to give up on that. So again, I'm very happy to see what you folks are offering.
No, we've used Velox brand since about probably 85. Prior to that, there were some other brands. Roto and Blefa were some European brands that came in. So the Bellex Skylights really work well. We even have a manual that shows what size of Velox Skylights fits into what size triangles, because it's a square or a rectangle. So we know that. And there's egress windows that Velox makes that we use all the time. We're one of the biggest buyers, I think, of Velox's egress skylights, because we use them in all the bedrooms on the upper level. And it's an excellent window. Just a skylight, I should say. I keep calling it a window. No, it's a skylight.
Dennis, did you say that it was
getting the skylights right is what you have to do in the beginning. And we have a wide selection of what we do. We actually manufacture our own skylights. Mm-hmm. So that's a big plus, because we are going to make them fit your dome and the location that they're in, and the triangles that they're in. So.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. We'll get through here. Our next group is, we got Ken from Massachusetts, Jack from Washington, and let's see, those two are for next week. And then we got Eugene from Ukraine. We won't go too much beyond that. Actually, then we only got a couple more. So then we can open it up to anybody else who has any other questions that may have come about as they've been hearing us talk about stuff. Okay, then let's see. We got, let's see, Einstein from Florida. And that is the list of everybody that signed up. So if any of those people have any questions, or we can open up for our remaining few minutes here if anybody's got something they want to just chime in with, or if any of the discussion has perhaps brought up additional questions somebody might not have been thinking of. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, I do got a note here from Carrie. I'm sorry. Nancy asked, how do you evaluate builders? John.
That's actually my question. We're actually in a situation where we're in our mid to later 60s, and if I tried to build a dome, I'd be dead before the time I got in there. It'd have to be something that somebody builds for me that can put a crew on.
Sure.
Is there guidance? Do you have experience? And how do you evaluate a builder? What kind of questions do you ask to kind of weed out the person that's going to run through half your money till they figure out they really don't know what they're doing?
You're right.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have had contractors come to our dome school. We do offer a dome school where sometimes potential dome home, future builders will bring their contractor with them, attend the school. We'll kind of go over the process of how to build the dome structure. But honestly, especially if you buy a dome kit, it's fairly simple as far as all the components are already prefabricated. So the structure itself goes up very quickly and easily. And after that, it's mostly kind of standard construction. The unique parts are maybe where a dome wall will run or a second floor will run into the dome itself. But in other words, for the most part, it's kind of standard construction. So any good contractor should have no problem at all building a dome, even if it's the first time they've done it. And we do include a dome manual, several hundred pages that go over all the steps so they can use it as a reference if they run into something they're not sure about. It gives them the opportunity. And of course, they can contact us as well, and we can help answer questions if there's a unique spot that they run into. But for the most part, I think it's pretty straightforward. What do you think, Dennis? I mean, you've been helping people find builders for a long time, I guess. You got any key things to ask about or inquire?
Well, you want somebody that's interested in your project. I tell this to people, and if you find a contractor that says, why are you building a dome? You should be building a square house. Build this box, it's better. You want somebody that understands the quality that the dome has. They may need some help. That's where we're branching out. We are going to be introducing some new videos online, going into detail on some of the components that we do, some of the ways that we put this thing together. We deal in all over the world. We deal with any kind of a climate zone situation. You want to talk earthquakes, hurricanes, derechos. You've heard of a derecho that went through Iowa. We had one of our domes right smack in the middle of that, which is a land hurricane. It's 140 to 150 mile an hour wind for a sustained duration of 15 to 20 minutes. When the owners went back out to their site, which was under construction, it had been roofed and closed up. So it was sealed up. It's a testament to the roofer, the builder, along with the shingle manufacturer. There wasn't one shingle that was lifted on that dome. This was about 3 months ago in August. So that's where you need the expertise, is you need to be concerned with the customer, the builder that has built some houses. You want to reference and talk to other owners of conventional houses that he's done. But you want him to be interested in your project. And if he is, then get your references so that you know how he handles problems. All building sites always have some issues that come up, but it's a matter of how they're handled. So this is where we're coming in and saying, all right, hire us from a consulting standpoint. Have the builder call us, do FaceTime, do Zooms, do something that's going to give him some confidence that, gee, this is not as hard as he thought. A lot of them are concerned with the structure of the dome. How fast does it go up? We have an excellent builder up in central Minnesota that could explain his situation where he came in. They had 4 guys, never seen a dome before, worked with the customer on what he wanted, built the dome shell, the riser walls, the struts, the exterior panels, with his crew of 4 in 4 days. This is a large 49-foot diameter dome. On that 5th day, they were putting the underlayment on the roof to waterproof it and starting the extensions, which had actually curved truss roof going over those extensions. So he, the contractor, is a good case in point, I guess I'll say, that this qualified builder, he felt very comfortable with this, can do this in smaller domes, probably 3 days. It's not a problem. Really small domes, that's 2 days, putting up that structure part. Now, there's a lot more to it than just the structure of the dome. I'm not downplaying the rest of the construction, but you want to get this thing closed in. You want to get it under wraps and get this thing watertight on the outside. So that's why the dome works so well, and most builders just don't have a clue how fast it goes up. So we'll help to explain that to them. The dome school is we are going to have another virtual dome school here sometime. We're not sure when it's going to be, but within the next few months. We've advertised one as an in-person dome school in June. I'm not sure that's going to happen. If it does happen, it'll probably be, we'll admit you to the dome school if you've got the COVID shot, both of them. And that might be the qualifier. But with the COVID-19 around, we do have some concerns with our safety and your safety in traveling. So that's why the virtual dome school, what we did, the last one we did in the fall, that was 4.5 hours on Saturday and 4.5 hours on Sunday. And it was surprising all the things that we did cover and the information that we handed out. We tried to make it like our real dome school, which is really an 8-hour day, both Saturday and Sunday, plus Friday night. So those are the things that are going to help your contractor get some confidence, along with discussing things with us.
Quick question about the virtual dome school. I understand you were having a recording made that was going to be ready towards the end of January. Is that still?
I'll turn that back to Derek.
Yeah, so that's been my responsibility, and we've been really scrambling on site work lately, trying to get all these jobs wrapped up before the weather. And until today, we've actually had a very mild winter for Minnesota, so we've been kind of extended on our working. But yeah, essentially what happened is I'm kind of rebuilding our original dome school in a higher video quality so that when people get it, it's just a better, they can see the details better, and it's a little, just a better quality video, I guess, than what we were able to record when we did it live via Zoom. So that's, yeah, we're still shooting for as soon as possible, but hopefully no worse case than, mid to late January as a worst case, I'm thinking at this point. So things should kind of mellow out going into the new year. So.
It was a problem with the download coming off of Zoom. They compressed it, and we couldn't uncompress it. Yeah. So, variety of things that happened. But the next dome school that we do, which will be in a couple of months, that's the main priority of it, is to get our recording recorded in like 9 hours of video. But Derek is working on using the last one, and we do have a lot of good video parts of that. But he's right. We have been very busy, probably the busiest that we've been. And it's continuing that way. I made a comment in your email that was sent out. We're dealing with a lot of people, and we're trying to find better ways to communicate. And Zoom is really a good communicator. FaceTime, You know, Skype, I don't know what happened with Skype. I haven't done any Skype stuff for a while, years, I guess. So FaceTime is really another way. We have 8 domes here in Minnesota on this property that we have, where our headquarters are and our shops are. So we can take video, we can take a live video feed from my iPad and show a builder, show you, here's what we have. Here's the detail. Oh, how do you do this extension? Here, look at this. We have a lot of stuff online. Our website is extremely detailed to the point where you may need some help to say, yeah, we have that on our website. Here it is here. And we do that a lot, where we take a lot of the searching that you'd have to do to find the right stuff that we have on our website and tell you the right link, the right page to go to. And if we don't have it, there may be some video that we've got in the stuff that we've done for Dome School or in other dome construction videos that we've got from different sites that might show you that application.
Yeah, we're hoping to continue to add a lot more video information for everybody that, you know, could benefit from it. We had kind of a last minute question pop in here. Well, not last minute, but can Dennis explain briefly the heating system with a single cold air return? It's an amazing concept, and this is from Mike.
We have this in 2 of the domes, actually all 3 of the domes that are the older domes that are office dome and my old house, and then a guest house that we added on. The return air, almost 100%, basically. There's some air in the basement, really, of the office that we change from winter to summer as far as taking air from that basement. So the return air takes all of the air from the top of the dome and draws it down. The office has a 16-inch by 30-inch return air duct that goes down to the forced air furnace system. That means that the air is being pulled up, if you want to call that way, but your hot air is going to rise. So we create this circulation. I do know of another dome that we did, a 29-foot dome, where we set the plans up. We had the return air duct, and the local builder said, oh, well, we always put returns on each floor after the fact, when I found out that it wasn't working right. So the solution to that owner, I said, just take some cardboard and cover up his return air duct on the main floor and cover up the basement return air. And the stairway was open, it wasn't closed, so that allowed air to flow through this structure. So this cold air return works, but you have to have the right setup inside. The dome is very open. We have radiant floor heating in ours. We also have 2 mini splits, one in our master bedroom and one up that's about an 18,000 BTU that covers the open part of the dome and the upstairs bedrooms. So there's a lot of things that we do depending on the design. There's a lot of things that we do depending on the climate zone. So we're always talking to you, how do you live? How do you function? How do you work inside that house? In today's world you are living through, you're stuck in that house. Will it happen again? We don't know, but it could. But the other reality is people are finding, I can work out of my house. I can do this or that, non-manual labor. I can do my job from my house. Now, are you comfortable living in the house? Is it set up for it? Is there a special room that you should be in because the kids are there, or whatever the reason might be? The design of the inside of our houses is starting to change with the fact that we want to work out of the house. So there's an issue there that just is easily solved. So.
All right. Well, I think we managed to get through everybody's questions, which is great. I was feeling a little pessimistic about it at first when I saw the number, but we managed. And I guess that's it.
Another question.
Oh, okay, sure. Kevin?
Yes, Dennis, when I get my lot, and do I get a geological plot plan so it shows the contour lines of the lot and send that to you? And then I've gone through your all the plans that you have online. I've looked at them and I know what I want. So do I just send you the geological plot plan of the lot, and that way you see how it's sloped, and then you draw up the plans for me?
Yes.
Are they engineered stamped? Do I have to get an engineer stamp out here in California to get them approved with the county? Or do you guys engineer them with your own stamp?
Okay, my answer to you is going to be yes, you need somebody in California to stamp them. That's our engineer. He lives in Los Angeles. So,
good.
Yeah, so that the plans that you would need are stamped by an engineer in the state. There's a series of 4 or 5 engineers in this group. They have registration in all 50 states. We currently are working with somebody up in Canada, for those people in Canada, that has done one of our domes, couple of our domes, and he is online with us at the moment. The first person we're talking to, Steve, that's what he needs. And a lot of building departments, that's what they want. They don't want to deal with this unusual structure.
Right.
We have engineering certification on our dome shell. We've done the testing. Our domes, the minimum that we have on our domes is a 100-pound snow load, which is northern Maine. We're in about a 60 to 70-pound snow load here in Minnesota, which we might be getting here soon. Not quite.
I can see it from your window. Speed, I can see the snow going out in the back window there.
Turned it this way, you can see the snow on the windows, skylights. The other thing is that the wind speed rating of 150 mile an hour is our minimum wind speed rating, and we go up from there. Like I said, this derecho that occurred, nothing happened to it. We have a dome in Colorado at about 7,000 feet, and that one, they have wind speeds, and they increase as you increase in altitude. So that one needed to be rated for 170 mile an hour wind speed. And I went to our engineer and said, okay, what do I do? What do we need to change to make it work for that wind speed rating? He said, well, in the engineering certification bulletin, which our standard one says 150, he says, you just change that to 170. I go, well, that's it? He said, yeah, the dome design doesn't have to get changed. So that he did the analysis of it, the certification is probably going to go to 200 mile an hour wind speed. So
I get the geological, I'll get a geological plot plan, and then I just send it to you and we go from there.
Right. And I want to know the lot placement, and they're going to tell you on an earthquake situation what the rating is for your earthquake. And that's the nature of California, wherever that lot is. And we built up.
It's right. Wrightwood sits right on the San Andreas Fault. It's the whole town sits right on top of it.
Okay, well, maybe you want a little bit of a portable dome or something. We've gone that route. We've gone the engineering for the dome in Malibu. That one had total engineering for sitting on the bluff above Malibu in a site that we had to move it from one side of the site to the other because the soils engineer said, oh, don't build over there on that side because that's subject to a slide. So the soils engineer is important. They're going to tell you where you can build on that site and what you need for. There's an SDS rating. There's a rating on the earthquake, whatever you want to call it, sustainability, or I'm not, how sustained is this earthquake going to be on your site is really what I want to say. So that's designed by the engineer. Our engineer that's out there, Paul, he's been out in California forever. He actually, in the Northridge earthquake in LA, he did so much work up in Northridge with analyzing houses and getting ones to do the remodel on it and stuff, that he actually bought a house in Northridge to live for a while that was going on. So he knows earthquakes, not an issue.
Great. I'm so glad you guys did this. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you guys. Any last questions, or maybe we'll see you guys next week, or some of you, if you are interested, or you come up with another question. But otherwise, I think that might wrap it up if everybody's good. Everybody's good? Okay.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. It's worked out fine.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
Bye.
How do we end it?
Say goodbye.
We did. We said goodbye.